Now, Republican Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis of New York. Congresswoman, thanks so much for being here with us. Happy New Year to you. I just want to ask you first off about this plan to do one big bill and try to get everything into it. How confident are you all can get that done in a timely manner?
Well, obviously, it's going to be a big task, and it is challenging considering we have a majority of one in the House. But I do believe that we made significant progress this past week. We were able to elect Speaker Johnson united in just one round of voting. And we had a very good meeting yesterday where we went over the game plan. We went over the procedures of what is allowed, what's not allowed in a budget reconciliation bill. And we have a framework right now, which we are beginning to hash out the details. And so I think that as long as we have good communication in our conference, the speaker keeps us informed of what he wants to do, what his goals are, as does the president, and we get buy-in and consensus, we can do these things that you mentioned, which is securing the border, getting our energy really to be jump-started here, so we are energy dominant again with American-produced energy. That will bring down prices because that'll bring down energy costs, it'll bring down food costs, so deal with the inflation issue. And then the tax extenders that as you know, created millions of jobs. It brought middle-class families' wages up. It lifted millions of Americans out of poverty, and it brought unemployment to record lows, particularly among minorities and women. And so we want to extend those cuts, but we also want to see some enhancements, particularly states like mine, New York. We want to see some type of state and local tax relief. And we would like to see that child tax credit increase. And so we'll have to go through these motions and see what we can get done, what we can agree on. That's the most important thing. We're all going to have to give a little. We're not going to get everything we want, but I think we can come up with a very good product for the American people.
Yeah, and I hear you on that last part talking about the tax piece of all of this, because some of this would be extending the tax cuts that were put in place in 2017 when President Trump was in office and those got passed. But as you noted, there could be additional tax features built into that legislation. And there are some of your colleagues who are deeply concerned about adding to the national debt. How are you concerned about that? And how do you think that conversation will go?
Well, look, we're focused on pro-growth, pro-jobs policies. The last round of these tax cuts actually brought in about a 1.5 million more in revenue that was actually projected, 1.5 trillion in revenue that was projected by the Congressional Budget Office. And so we're looking to see how can we repatriate manufacturing in this country? What kind of incentives need to be provided to make sure we're producing our pharmaceuticals here and not relying on communist China and foreign nations where currently 80% of our active pharmaceutical ingredients come from? That is one of my big priorities for this package. The state and local tax relief, it's going to have to be limited. We're not going to be able to just completely lift that cap. And I think there's a consensus there that we're not looking to provide more tax relief for the richest Americans, but really focus on the middle class. So what kind of increase in the deduction can we give that will really help people like the ones I represent in Staten Island, Brooklyn, working middle-class families? So I think that there also has to be some offsets, absolutely. And if we change some regulations that have been costly and burdensome, we can save a lot of money there. We can save money by making government more efficient, reducing bureaucracy, and making sure these programs that are administered are being done in the right way, meaning you don't have a big bloated bureaucracy behind it, but that the money's actually going toward the benefits for people. One of the other big issues that we've talked about is lowering the tax burden that seniors pay right now when they receive their Social Security checks. We want them to keep more of their money because they're suffering and really struggling living paycheck to paycheck. So reducing that tax burden on seniors is another big issue that's come up and is a priority of mine.
And I hear what you're saying about some of the things that can be done. Am I understanding you right, though, that you would want some sort of offsets and pay-fors for additional tax cuts?
Yeah, look, we have to find a way to pay for this stuff. We can't keep adding to the debt. I think the big focus right now is what were the best parts of the Tax Cut and Jobs Act? What needs to be changed? What needs to be tweaked? What can we eliminate? and then figure out how we will make those adjustments to pay for the things that we do want at the end of the day. So it is a little bit of a shifting, but I also do believe that we can find a significant savings by just looking at what's being done right now in terms of burdensome regulations that are costly, looking to right-size government so it is efficient and effective, and then taking the bloat and the fraud and the abuse out of some of these programs and making sure that the benefits are actually getting to the American citizens who are entitled to it. I mean, I think that's a big correction that needs to be made that could save the taxpayers a lot of money in the long run.
And before I let you go, tomorrow will be 4 years since the January 6th insurrection on the Capitol. The president-elect says he plans to pardon some of those convicted for their role in the attack on that day. And a recent Washington Post poll found 2/3 of Americans oppose that. I'm curious if you support the president-elect in that decision.
Yeah, I think some of those pardons should be made. I think the other thing is the right to a speedy trial. All of these Americans are entitled to that, and some of them 4 years, and I don't think that they've had their due process. What I would say also is, look, we can have this. Some people will be upset because the current president pardoned Hunter Biden and some murderers and serial killers and child rapists and murderers. If those individuals can be pardoned, then I think the president-elect, who will be the next president, has the right to pardon those that he wishes as well, who certainly did not commit the type of heinous crimes that we've seen pardoned over the last couple of weeks.
All right, Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.